This programme has consistently criticised the forecasters because they've been so inaccurate, whether it's the OBR, the IMF or the OECD, for generally fallacious forecasts. But the International Monetary Fund, in the spirit of the Leader of His Majesty Opposition, has flip-flopped on its prediction that the United's economy would contract this year by 0.3% and enter a recession, replacing it with a revised forecast that our economy will grow by 0.4%. Now, in forecasting terms, a 0.7% swing is enormous, but this is part of a pattern. The IMF has consistently underforecast the UK in recent years, mainly because it hates Brexit. And this is really important. I don't think the OBR is any good at its forecasts. I don't think the Bank of England is good at its forecast. But I don't think either of them is actively malign, whereas I think the IMF is biased, is not impartial, and so dislikes the way British people have voted that it is institutionally anti-Britain in its forecast. And that's a useful reminder why we should ignore these institutions when they drone on with their doom and gloom. And we should be asking instead, are we making the most of our opportunities, not least are opportunities that come from Brexit? Now, we had a news story today about adding burdens. Nigel Wilson, one of the biggest investors in the UK, said we were adding burdens, making life more difficult for people to invest in the UK. We have a dreadful energy bill before Parliament that in a time of high energy prices could add £118 a year to annual household bills because of green levies. And we've got a whole slew of new EU-inspired, Windsor Framework-inspired food labelling regulations which are going to come and hit our economy. What we need is for the Prime Minister to switch on his famous shredder. We need to get economic growth by deregulating, by supply-side reforms, and by doing usually the opposite of what the IMF has to say, because the IMF is biased as well as incompetent,